So infuriating. This was an outstanding performance, beginning with the research behind it, and I commend them for being brave and speaking up about this. I didn't know anything about it, and it was great work compiling all the cases and the details and pointing this out to specific group taking over, and it was so brutal and savage, and I'm glad they produced this film, and I'm so angry this happened.
I think I just saw the dark side of the US military in Juicy Girl. I found it really graphic, I found it really heavy, but I think it needed to be. I think the writer and director really honored So Young's feelings and her worth and shed light on her story. However gory I might have felt some parts might have been, I think it was necessary. I like that they included her unlikely friendship with the chocolate bar salesman, that he was kind to her, and his interpretation of events might have represented the childlike innocence in her as well, and the sacrifice of that innocence. And really, I could go on and on about different feelings and all the ways I feel, but for now I'll just wrap up and say that this story was covered honestly, in a raw and irreproachable way.
I thought they did a really great job at dramatizing an already very dramatic scenario. So, I mean, there's a lot of respect paid to the gravity of the situation, which I think could have easily been overlooked by a lesser filmmaker. So I think they did, again, a brilliant job at portraying such a horrific scenario again, and you know, informing the audience about the truth of all those that matter, what goes on in there in those you know, rest and relaxation camps, and then even at the end giving us a list of other incidences. So it seems like something that needs to be paid more attention to, at least if we're going to continue, you know, setting up these camps and places. So yeah, I think they just did a beautiful job. It was all shot really well, and absolutely worth checking out.
This was a super disturbing piece, but incredibly important story, and it was told with such vision and focus that I thought it did a really wonderful honoring to the women that were lost. And as a warning, so hopefully this doesn't happen again, the cinematography was extremely high quality. I loved the bouncing of the distorted timeline from past to future to present, and it being wrapped up at the end with the aftermath of the riots and the outcry from the public. I also thought the performances were gritty and raw, and I thought it gave it the depth that was necessary, so it didn't wash it over with a Hollywood veil, because we need to experience the hardship and embrace the disturbing parts to get the message.
Beautifully done in terms of capturing the characters and their humanity in such a short amount of time. I found myself really connecting with So Young and just wanting to know more of her story and her backstory, and just like seeing her as this fully dimensional character, even though there's only a few scenes.
I really like the title, especially at the end when you kind of explained indirectly the reasoning for the title. I think that it just made sense. So well done in choosing that. I thought that the script was just really well written, and I think that the way it was written really spoke to the personalities of each character, and had this like implicit meaning behind the backstory of each character that was just really well developed through the dialogue. So I think that was really well done. I love the sentiment at the end and kind of these explainers, because I think they really brought the piece to life because these events really did happen, and I think that these girls deserve to be remembered for more than just the sex slaves that they were told to be, and I think that you really did a good job of showing the dimensions to these girls, well, the one girl in particular, through this story and narrative, to really just have them be remembered for more than just objects for people to toy with. And so I just think that that was a really good piece and an educational piece in a way. And I just really enjoyed watching it, so well done there.
This one was hard to watch for obvious reasons. I know that South Korea still to this day has quite a large US military presence. And honestly, I don't doubt that crimes like that are still happening today. Like, I don't know if they still have the rest and whatever the village is set up, but you know, things like that happen here and across the world. Honestly, it really sickens me that these developed countries have commodified women. And worse, that a man who can commit such a heinous crime that literally caused an uprising in the country was able to, I don't want to say get off scot-free, but I mean, he was sentenced to life in prison and got out after 15 years after a very specific recommendation to not let him back into public. And he was allowed back into the US, and just, it's such a failure of the system and of society. And yeah, I am glad that the film got to honor these women that unfortunately were brutally murdered, you know, and I got to learn some new names, and yeah, their memory can live on.
Damn, this was wild. This was brutal. And, you know, I mean, really well made. The, like, messages at the end, like, all those title cards were just so interesting to, like, read the actual, you know, the repercussions of this case, and, like, I feel like the performances were so strong. It was, like, it was really scary to watch. The, you know, the murderer, he is, yeah, it's just, I don't know, just sick. And it was, I mean, it was shot beautifully as well, like all the kind of like club scenes, and then like back in the room, and then everything that was like in jail was just like really well done, super well lit.